you know, press conference was this week, the New York and LA. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Our modern day, Hearns and Leonard, Pacquiao and Mayweather, however you want to call it, De La Hoya and Trinidad. This is our era of welterweights right now. Um, a lot of trash talk. Who do you favor in that fight? I know it's kind of hard because everybody says it's a 50-50 and styles make fights, but we got a guy that, he proved himself at 35. He was undisputed at 140 pounds, and he feels in really, really good as a welterweight right now. But then you also have the other guy like Errol Spence that started his career at 54 and, is campaigning at the welterweight division. And he's unified. He's proven himself. He arguably has the better resume as a welterweight. Um, who do you favor in that fight? And let's talk about it a little.
Don't have a favorite. I think it's pretty much even. I the questions that I have though, um, for Terrence, I have can he neutralize Earl Spence's jab, and can he um will his switch of because usually what he does is he'll be fighting a right-handed fighter, he comes out orthodox and he changes southpaw, fight's pretty much over with. So now my question is, will his switch be as effective versus Earl because Earl is a southpaw? Um, Third question I have for Terrence is simply, you know, not a super slow starter, but you can't hit him early. He does seem to take a little bit of time to download what's going on. And while he's downloading, you know, does that let Earl get like that snowball effect? Once Earl starts snowballing, he's trouble. You know what I mean? Like Crawford usually takes about 3, 4 rounds to kind of, all right, now I got you. But that's not against guys of Earl's level, And I thought Sean Porter was outboxing Terrence. You know, Terrence finally got up to him, but I thought Sean Porter was outboxing both of them. To
Right.
be honest, I mean, shit. Earl had a split decision with him, if I'm not mistaken, and I thought he was winning the fight versus Terrence. To be honest, uh, obviously Terrence got that little kill switch where he could just boom. Oh, I think somebody yelled at him in the crowd, "You losing?" He's like, "What? Oh, okay." Just went out there and stopped him. I'm like, God damn,
Yeah.
Sean, like the most durable guy of the whole era. That was amazing to me. But
Seems like
Earl,
he's one of the
almost
better finishers in the game.
one of the better finishers in history. One of
Ooh.
the better finishers in history of boxing, bro. He gets you hurt, you out of there. I don't know nobody in the history of boxing that started out at lightweight and then got nine. Well, what he got? I mean, 6, 7 knockouts in a row at welterweight. I don't know no all championship
All,
fights. I don't know.
all his fights are by knockout and
Yeah,
welter.
I don't know nobody in the history of boxing has ever done that. He's one of the better finishers in history. He can finish with the likes of Leonard and Pryor, Spinks, Tyson, those kind of great finishers of the 80s where they get you hurt and you gone. That's how good of a finisher Terrence Crawford is. I mean, the best two finishers I've seen is Leonard and Joe Lewis. And I ain't saying he's better than them, but he's on the level. He can finish. He really knows how to finish. I had a kid that sparred him and told me he's just so precise. Like he just precise. He can thread needles that you don't think a fighter can thread. He's really gifted at that. Where the punches don't look hard, you know how to snap them. Boom, you're like, what the hell was that hit? So um so back to what I was saying. Can he neutralize Earl's jab? Can he like start a little bit better so Earl don't get his groove? Because it's one thing to get hit early by like guys like uh Mean Machine and Jose Benavidez. Well, Spencer's a different level fighter. You don't want him to get cooking, on you early. So I'm curious about that. And I'm curious with Earl. Sounds weird, but I'm curious if he can exchange with Terrence and take his punches. And here's the reason why. Crawford, I don't think Crawford is the biggest like one punch knockout artist like that. I think Beater Bev, Javante, mm, Monster E Now,
Maybe even
uh,
Virgil.
he's more of a volume guy to me, but he just don't let up. He kind of like remind. Can you hear me?
Yep.
He reminds me of Earl, whereas more volume, Virgil Ortiz. But I think Crawford got a gift of being able to hit you right in the middle of exchanges, right? He seems to be able to keep his eye on the target and clip you in the middle of exchanges. So his knockouts are more visually pleasing than Earl's because Earl just kind of bombards you and beats you up and beats you down. It's like a dude out on the street he just dogs you. That's what we call it in our neighborhood. Just walk up on you, just start punching on you and just dogging you. Then the guy just ball up and just get beat up. That's what Earl. I never see Earl clip people like in the middle of exchanges like that. You know what I mean? He got some nice knockouts, but Crawford's is like more visually pleasing. So when like with Ugas and Earl, Ugas just got to a point where he was just like overwhelmed. Terrence Crawford is a savage. He ain't gonna ball up. He gonna fight. He gonna punch. He gonna try to punch with Earl. So my question is, can Earl take those punches in the exchanges because you're really vulnerable when you're getting hit? I mean, when you're hitting somebody, like a fighter is always you see a lot of big knockouts where two guys just throwing the same shot, like a right hand or a hook, and they both throwing it at the same time and one get there a split second earlier. My question is, can Earl take that when Terrence thread that needle right in the middle of an exchange? Because Earl commits to all his punches.
You made
He
a perfect
commits to
made a perfect thing to say right there because it's like you're vulnerable when you're throwing punches, but they always say that Spence is like technically sound from 1 to 12, but with someone that precise in between this exchange, that kind of
Crawford threads the
diminishes.
needle. He threads the needle. So my question is, if you look at his knockouts, they're right in the middle of exchange. Him and Benavidez was right in the exchange. I think he hit Benavidez with an uppercut, like a 1-2 uppercut, right in the middle of exchange. His last fight versus Ivanish's right in the middle of an exchange. When he unified the titles at 140 versus the African dude, the dude like swung over top. Crawford rolled it, come back to the body, right in an exchange. He's hitting you right in the middle of your exchanges. Sean Porter threw a big shot, leaned in. Crawford took a half a step back, right in the middle of an exchange. He do it every time. So I'm wondering with Earl's aggression and how good he is and his bread and butter, because he gonna bring it. Can he avoid getting clipped right in the middle of those exchanges? If he can, he probably going to fight. That's a big if. That boy, like, he's in a groove where he's hitting you right on the money, right while you're punching. He has a really, it's the level of concentration. It's a gift. He's like looking at the target right when he's throwing. That ain't luck, bro. That's a gift
Gifted.
from him. Like
It's
he's
gifted from God.
very gifted, very talented fighter. So those are my questions, man. Can Earl not get clipped in exchange with all his aggression? And can Crawford neutralize his jab and not get so down in rounds where he allowing this guy to get his momentum up? Because once Earl get his momentum and get in his groove, he kind of starts to steamroll you. I haven't seen him do that in a while. Then the Ugas fight, I was like, whoa, that's the Earl that I saw versus Brook, Lamont Peterson, Chris Algieri. That's the guy I saw because he started boxing a little bit more like in most of his fights. There's both of the Garcias. He was like boxing them. He wasn't like a destroyer versus them. But he got back to that destroyer mode
Ugas.
against Ugas. But that's a dangerous mode to be in against Bud Crawford, man. So it kind of plays into his hand. So I'm just curious, to see both. I think they got the kind of personalities where this is a can't miss fight. I think it's like gonna be a classic.